Okay, so I guess the conversation comes up every so often, every kind of year or so. Oh, there's a new DPDK out. Should we use it? Should we stick with the old LTS? So this is just a few thoughts on that. Oh, clicker. Okay, so the first thing is, in terms of the DPDK releases themselves, they get different amount of maintenance times. So if you look, there's a list of different DPDK releases down the side, and we can see for how many months they're maintained. All right, so we can see that obviously that once a year there's an LTS which has 2-year support, and that could even be extended if people in the DPDK community wanted to do that as well. So once a year, every year, 2-year support. Okay, so if we translate that now into OVS releases, and we look at, say, so the DPDK release happens, it gets integrated into OVS, and then sometime later an OVS release happens. So after that OVS is released with that DPDK, how long is that DPDK actually maintained for? And if we look through the recent releases, we can see that OVS 2.6, it was only 2 months. And after that, the DPDK stayed the same. There was no maintenance, no bug fixes backported to it. We can see when we used an LTS in 2.7, it was a few months after the DPDK release, so 3 months later, but we could get almost 2 years support. And we can see the kind of trend that where DPDK LTS wasn't used, there was very short support time. So 2.8, so literally 1 month later, so by the time people had untarred the OVS release, the DPDK was already out of maintenance. Okay, so what does maintenance really mean? So it's great to say, give a time frame, but maintenance means bug fixes. So if we look at the bug fix commits that have affected or have been put in for the DPDK releases that OVS uses, so we can see with 16.07, because it wasn't an LTS, it got one kind of batch of that 3-month support maintenance, so it got about 130 bug fixes. But then when 16.11 was used in OVS 2.7, we can see it's already got over 800 bug fixes. And similar, 17.05, non-LTS, a short amount of bug fixes, because maintained for a small amount of time. And then the 17.11 LTS, after only 4 releases, there's nearly, I suppose, over 750 bug fixes. So, I mean, that's more than likely going to grow quite a bit for the next year as well. Okay, so the counter arguments. So this is why you shouldn't use DPDK LTS, or the arguments. So it's too old. So really, if you look at the DPDK release cycle and the OVS release cycle, at least 50% of the time, the DPDK LTS was the latest DPDK release. So that argument only really applies to the other 50%. It doesn't have new features. But the thing about that is, usually when a new feature comes into DPDK, we still have to do work in OVS to make use of it. So if it's something like QoS, the metering, or hardware offload, so even if a feature happens in DPDK straight away, it still takes some months until that is integrated properly into OVS. Maybe the only difference is the PMDs, which can be pretty much transparent, although we still sometimes see there's a few integration issues. Okay, it's buggy because it's older. Well, we've seen that over the course of its lifetime, it's going to be probably something like 4 to 10 times more bug fixes. It's too hard to update OVS after 1 year. So this was an argument at one stage, and I think we've done this recently with patches from OFR or myself to update 1 year's DPDK. And of course, we'd love the API to be completely stable, so there was no updating, but really it wasn't that much. So that seems okay. So it's boring. So yeah, it'd be nice to just get the latest one and get it in. But I suppose the other argument is, it's kind of, I like boring, especially when it comes to software that's put into production. So just to finish off, so a show of hands who took an airplane to get to the conference today. Oh, come on, let's be more than that. Okay. So which airplane would you like to fly home on? DPDK Airlines or DPDK Long-Term Stable Airlines? Okay, that's it.